Welcome back to the channel. 1 week passed on Artstation challenge, and let's today discuss what I have done. So I have been focusing on gray boxing, white boxing, and have been forcing my scene to have a little bit more clear and visual design. I separated all my meshes on the modules, and let me show you in the video how I have been doing, and I will give you a couple of tips which I hope will be useful for you.
So this is my updates during this week. As you see, a lot of things updated. Let me very fastly show you what we had 1 week ago when I submitted. So this was shot number 1. I think this is the most important one. This shot I'm calling far. This shot will be, I think this will be the main shot on which I will be focusing. This is shot number 3. So you see, I'm going closer and closer from my shots and also changing aspect, not the best aspect ratio, focal point, so your view will not be so bored. I every time trying to do it this way that you need to change point of view a little bit. I'm thinking about shots from the like a storyboard, like a comics. So I'm trying to create an interesting variation for you to look at the picture, because you will be scrolling down, and another so it will be like boom, 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 jumping a little bit from here and there. Sometimes it's work, sometimes not, but that's what we had at start of the week. And let me show what we have right now. So right now you see a lot of things updated. Let me show you this camera far. So that's how it's look right now, and you see something's changed, mostly architecture, and I worked on this very initially very blocky stage. So that's how it was, and that's how it's look. Not this one. I think it was this one. So yeah, let's take a look. So this one was, that's how it looked right now. I think it's improved. Yeah, right now mood much more stronger, but the most important, of course, architecture part. This was like very drafty. It was something interesting in this more drafty, simple look. So maybe this part a little bit too messy. I'm still not sure about it. Why I done it? Because I wanted to go with this a little bit more logical. So initially my egg, let's call this with egg in egg, was completely unlogical. So we decided, okay, let's do a little bit more logic. That do that they have a bridge. It was going to the temple part, and it has like this rotation part, and then you can go outside, and it was this egg inside. So you see, I changed, like, I was trying to go with logic here. And in my initial sketch, which I done during concepting phase, it's like was very wobbly, and maybe it was possible to have this, but I think okay, and I think it's still in a way this view can be more interesting. And if I will feel that it's too much happening, I can hide, for example, more of this debris on this white box stage. It's mostly important to show that I have this debris for myself. That means that I need to spend time on it, and during production stage I can improve it. Also, I changed the level of water, so you see, even in this case, when we're so this is another opportunity how I can remove this noisiness of the ruin. I can have a little bit more water, or I can have this platform a little bit lower, so it's possible to update some things. On the current stage, I don't think it's really critical to focus on that one, because right now my idea was, so what we're trying to solve, we're trying to have a proper gray mesh, white box, up to you how we'll call it. But if we will go to lit mode, on lit mode, you will see right now I haven't used color at all except water and only a little bit of fog. And already my location is working. And in a way, maybe not perfect, but it's working. And this is my main goal, that I haven't done any textures work, but I already understand my final picture in a way. And for example, concept artists during production can take this picture and overpaint it. So let me show another shot, which I'm calling main. And you see here it's looking very interesting. So my idea is that it was a temple here. It's destroyed. I was trying different options of temple with different architecture. Because of that, my folder's a little bit messy. And I was trying to solve design. I tried different variations of this egg temple part, and also different. So you see that what we had initially, and I have been trying this, as you see. So we're thinking like, okay, it was something like that, and then it was destroyed, and because of that we have something like that, or maybe we have something like that. And I can say it's very useful to use Unreal modeling tool for something like that. And I'm starting to use it more and more. So during my first weeks, first days, I started to work on my cliff kit. So related, and why it's important, we'll talk about cliff kit in a minute. So you see, I have my rocks, and everything started from rocks for me, because this is my, like, it's 80% of the picture to have proper shapes of the cliff. So I started from them, get proper shapes, and then started solving this architecture part, because it still was not clean. It was very messy, very great boxy, and you see I pushed it a little bit more in ZBrush, Maya, and some kit batching, and now I can do proper architecture. So, for example, you see I have this already done forms. I think I use something like kit bash kit, just for testing how the shapes will work, and now I can do something more proper. But of course, this is not exactly what I want, because I want to have a destroyed temple, and doing it in Maya can be, overall, when you do not see a picture, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to understand what's happening. So I decided, okay, let's try to focus on composition view. And when I have this view, I'm going to modeling tool. I'm taking, for example, this rock, because that's why I started to talk about them. And you're doing something like that, because we do not want to block a view of our egg. And if your mesh of block out of your rock is good, it will give very nice result to you. So I'm going to mesh bool, and you see, and also we can save it to new object, it's fine. Yeah, if you don't want to save it in a new object, you can change. So, and you see what's happening. We have very nice Boolean version of this part. So we destroy some of the columns, and then like, okay, for example, I do not like another part, I will take another rock. I think this is overall very strong technique for doing some changes and things in Unreal. And I have been doing it a lot during this stage, because it's really, because not everything you can do in Maya properly, because you do not understand the composition. Right now I mostly want to have proper shapes, which during production content creation I will be changing. So you see, you can have this mesh. Let's check the proper order. Mesh bool, and you can, okay, it's going this way. Maybe we want to scale it. Maybe you want to move it here, and you see it's updating. So I have been doing a lot of this to achieve proper result. And you see, this is my different options. You see, I have tried a lot of them. I was trying to proper, like, I tried things because it was very important for this. And right now I ended with this one. The main reason why I ended with this one, because it was starting very noisy on the upper part, and I didn't like how it's affecting the picture. But right now in this picture, everything is like talking to you. Watch on this egg. And as I said, this is the only part which I'm not completely sure. Maybe I will have water, because on the I started, I think overall my water level was a little bit higher initially. And in one moment I decided, okay, let's try going a little bit lower, show a little bit of construction, let's call it this way. And you see, like, controlling this water can be very nice for me if I will decide, okay, maybe I still want to have it higher. So this what I can try a little bit later when I have more proper shader, a little bit more textures, and then I will try to push my environment from 80% to 90% or 100% of cooliness. So yeah, Boolean part. Let's talk about rocks a little bit. So this is my initial shapes which I used. So you see some of them like combined and decimate. Some of them are done completely from scratch. And what I will recommend, you see I have different types. I have embankment. So this is this kind of pile meshes, which are very nice for dressing near the water. And you will have very nice transition. I have small rocks, I have bigger rocks, and I also have cliffs. And the cliffs I have done from both sides because I wanted to have opportunity to rotate them in my environment. And now, as you see, everything completely done in this environment with this, except one white box arch, which is looking like Z1, as you see. This is very simple shape, just because it's so specific shape. But for example, here, as you see, I added a couple of rocks. So my plan for rocks is to do proper sculpt, do diffuse pass, but then I will create pretty complex shader with waterline textures, overlaying, and this mostly will be done. So that's what happened with my rock part. About bridge, so initially I have done my bridge like real architecture. So that was initially done architecture mesh. So I was trying different versions. As I said, I decided to approach to this with logic. So I created this. So I have pillar. I was taking a reference like Indian and Islamic architecture. It was a couple of good ideas. So one of the ideas which I 100% sure will use it using this a lot of patterns here, and I'm planning to do this with a height map. So I will displace it in Unreal, cut part, and it will be very cool. I'm not planning to do it in ZBrush because it will take too much time. And also from my practice, I separated this part middle of the bridge because it will have some kind of pattern and it will be complicated to work with it if it will be part of the bridge. So I have bridge part, middle part, I have pillar, and I have railings. And railings have random, like again, semi-Islamic pattern, which I will update maybe with some ideas of dragons, or maybe not. I just wanted to test how it would work. And then I started to, again, destroy it and chop in some parts. I imagined how this bridge can destroy, so I created, as you see, a couple of bridge variations. Again, this is something what will change during my production stage, because when I have my final bridge, I will have a couple of options how to do it, or I can do, so I have a couple of options overall how to approach this bridge. First, do a segment of this bridge, then do some Boolean operations, assign tileable material, and I will have it. So this pretty nice approach. Another approach I can use how they done it in 90 days challenge in Unreal. You can use fracture mode in Unreal. It's also very good, interesting point. So you're using a little bit of simulation for your destruction, and then you're combining it. It can work. It can work very nicely. We'll see. I want to try it, but not sure it will be my final version. Or another option, you can sculpt it from start as a destroyed part. In my case, it's not an option because I know how much time taking sculpting something destroyed. And I know I'll not have time to this, so I will separate all my parts. I will create like a modular kit, clean one of the bridge, and then I will do a destruction pass and only question how I'll approach it. Because otherwise, as I said, it will be pricey. Same story will be columns. Right now, these columns, again, used a lot of Boolean operations, so I will do one of this column with trim sheets or maybe sculpting, we will see. And I will do some Booleans. This part still a little bit not touched, but it's working already. So I have this staircase here. I bended it in Unreal again. I have symbol of the dragon. I found this in some of the references, and I think it's working very nice. It's selling this idea, and when I will rework the dragon, I think it will work even nicer. So overall, you understand what's happening in this environment. Yeah, a couple of holes which I will fix. It's not a big deal just to place a couple of rocks, but for me it was much more important to show the proper view of the player. As I have a couple of camera, this is, as I said, my main one. I have this very nice shot from the upper one. It will give me opportunity to break up my shots from something. I like unusual camera positions, and this is what I strongly recommend to you to do during your challenge. So when you're working with any camera, just do duplicate of your camera. So let's take this one and then just be artistic with your cameras. So if you will switch to cinematic viewport, you can have a grid. I'm using it a lot. I like using grid. It's helped me to understand in a lot of cases. And then I'm using a cinematic camera, and I'm going first using 6:9 DSLR, and then I'm changing sensor weights to 36, 18, and then I'm playing with aperture and current focal length. So in the movies they're using focal lengths like 20, 35, 75. There are a couple of lenses, and I would again recommend just try. Do not be afraid to try it. Different options. So let's go. So let's imagine we want to do an interesting shot. Already working nicely, working good. You can say, if you are afraid to lose it, you can create duplicate of your shot. Let me do something like that, 75, and maybe aspect ratio, something like that. And you see it's already created something interesting. And then I'm placing my camera this way that it's following some of the rules of composition. So what does I mean when I'm talking about something like that? So first, I want to have a foreground element a little bit, and because it's blurry, it's working very nicely. Also, it's very nice if you have any guidelines in your environment which are following. So you see, overall, when I have been working on my environment, I was doing it this way, that I have a lot of these guidelines to this egg altar part. That's initially how I was working on my concept, and that's why these rocks have all these shapes. Like, it's not a coincidence, it was like done with intention. Then, okay, you like this camera, let's try something extreme. Let's do something like that. And again, like, do not be afraid to go up, go down, like, just try to do something cool, what will be interesting for you as a player and as an artist. In the future, you can, like, if you do not like, if you have holes or something, you can fix it. Do not be afraid. And another thing which is nice to try, at least, just to try something like that. Why not? Sometimes shots like that can be very good for promotion in social media, because not everything done only with white pictures. You want to have something like that, so why not try it? And I already see that even something like that can work, but upper part a little bit boring. So if I want to do something like that, I will need to do some dressing on the upper part. So on the ceiling, maybe some rocks or etc. So I think you get the idea. Again, back to camera, I have this close view. Truth be told, I'm not really like this close view right now. In my opinion, this first one was much more stronger. This one, it wasn't so massive, and you have much more of the background. And right now, you do not see too much of the background. You see, we need to hide. So even this one, I think, will work better. Well, this I cannot do. Maybe something like that. Yeah, you see too much things happening, so I will see. I think this is something what I can improve in the future, but mid-range, I think this mid-range started working much more interesting than it was before. Was that what I had? Right now, this looking much more interesting. Yeah, in my opinion, a lot of good things happening here, so this will work, and I'm pretty happy with this one. Also, I have done some anamorphic shots. Anamorphic shots using anamorphic plugin for anamorphic camera. I do not know will they allow it for Artstation challenge or not. So in any case, I'm saying if not, it will be on my Artstation publication. If it's allowed, I think it's allowed because they are allowed to use Sky blueprints and VFX, and this is something close to VFX. So I think it's not a big a deal. I really like anamorphic camera. I like how it's like created this softness. And like it's just personal feeling. I think shot is working pretty nice in this case. And water, as I said, I'm using some shader of the water because without water it's hard to understand what's happening. You see, I placed a little bit too much lights in my opinion. I'm trying not to do it usually, but in this case I wanted to have my mood, and I don't have concept art, so I cannot work completely blind, so I was placing. Overall, if you're interested in my layout of the folders, I have cinematic, environment, effects, and levels. And I even have some old level. So this is another advice. If you're afraid, so first of all, if you're doing art, do not afraid to rework something. And if you're afraid to rework something, just do variation of the shot. So for example, this was my shot, I think it's start of the week. You see it's using this old altar, and I was like and some old variation of the bridge, and in one moment I was starting to go in change a lot, and I was like, I'm afraid to change picture. And when you're afraid to change picture, it's blocking you from the progress, from movement. So I decided, okay, I will create a new camera. And I think, and in this moment your brain are not afraid to create changes, and you're just going. Environment, I have some temporal folders which I will delete later, and materials, meshes, textures. In textures I have decal, style, unique, utility. Utility is different textures from like grunges, sometimes it's just empathy normal maps, empathy RM. Some of them are using virtual textures because some of the shaders will require virtual textures, and unique, clean, water, cliff rock, as I said, temporal one. But you see, because I do not have any materials right now, obviously I do not have any textures. Materials, we're more interested like simple master right now. This is like very simple one. Functions, instances, and cinematic. I have a cinematic camera here. Like again, I just done small quick update for cinematic just to post it in social media. I can do very easy GIF animation, and it's already. So I'm doing a lot of things that when environment will be done, I will solve a lot of things instantly. So yeah, what else I can show you? So now a lot of things are solved, but some of them are not. As I said, I'm not completely happy about this area. I think maybe I will improve it, but overall I understand where I'm going and what I need to do. During next week, I will start working on the rocks because I think this is the most critical one. I will add a little bit of color because I'm not completely sure which color I want. Right now, color is very coldish, but for example, when I have been thinking about this environment, I was thinking about more orangish type of rocks. But right now, let me show you. If I will change, and a lot of rocks, if a lot of rocks will be orangish, we'll see what's happening. Environment becoming to be greenish, because this is how physics of light work. So you see color mood changing very dramatically, and I really like this color palette. So if I will have a lot of orange stone, maybe it will be too much. So I'm not completely sure on my color palette, so this is what I will be solving during next week. I already started to work on sculpting of this rock to understand design. I think I will need another pass, but as I said, the main important part for next week will be rock sculpts. I need to focus on the rocks as quickly as possible. I still have some issues with architecture, but most of the stuff I have solved. So that's my plan. And maybe some last things. It's about patterns. So with DALL-E, I generated some of very cool pattern for our bridge, and I think this kind of ceramic tiles can work very nicely. So this is what I generated from DALL-E as an idea for like Islamic dragon architecture, and you see there are a lot of cool ideas which we can use. DALL-E giving some very interesting results. This is old generation for my concept stage, which I have been done with Midjourney, or no, this is also DALL-E, and this is not really working. I have tried, but these patterns and this window looking very nice, and maybe this column, we'll see. Not sure I will use it, but we'll see how it will go. I hope it was useful for you. So let's go to outro, and I will see you later.
And that's how I have been working this week. So for next week, I will be focusing on content creation, and I think it will be rocks because it's sculpting, it's shaders, and I think the most critical will be to push this part as quickly as possible. I hope that was really useful for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to write on Artstation page or on YouTube channel. If you wanna me to show some specific, also write about it. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Let's try to have this channel a little bit bigger. And I will come back to you next week with more updates. See ya!